Special English students, welcome to the important topic today of report writing. First of all, I'd like to review the last class, which was on paragraph writing. If you turn in your book to page 69, we'll review the paragraph writing and expansion. We're going to use the paragraph writing for these charts and graphs. A paragraph is a distinct passage related to one idea. Essential features of the paragraph, as you remember, are the first sentence gives you an introduction to the subject. The paragraph should have a logical sequence of thought. It should consist of an introduction, a body, a number of points, and a suitable conclusion. This is what will happen in our report writing. It's a good example of paragraph writing. One sentence leads to another, making for a coherent paragraph. Linkers can be used to make it more exciting. So we went through one example. I'll review that example. It was about trees. Trees are our best friends. And they gave us a number of outlines of what to use in our paragraph. Trees are the boon of life. They provide basic necessities, fruits and paper, provide oxygen. They take in the carbon dioxide. They clean up our air. They retain humidity. They attract rain. They prevent soil erosion. Trees provide all sorts of food and plants. They provide many other useful items. And so we don't want to deforest our planet. If we do, our planet will turn into a desert. So using these points, we put them together in a paragraph. And I'll read the paragraph to you. Trees are necessary for the ecosystem and human survival. It's the first sentence. It gives you the story of what this paragraph is going to be about. This is because they contribute to fulfilling our basic necessities like air, water, food, clothing, and shelter. We can use trees to make our homes. In fact, trees provide much needed oxygen, and he calls it the elixir. The best part of life, a lot of oxygen. And they absorb carbon dioxide and retain humidity. Not only do trees attract rain, but they also prevent soil erosion. You've seen how an area that's denuded of trees, the soil erodes very, very quickly. Besides providing food, they are the source of many other useful items. But it's rather unfortunate that merciless deforestation still persists in many areas of the world, like the Amazon. They're taking away too many trees. This, if it consists, will make a lot of deserts in the world. So this is the conclusion of the paragraph. We have to be careful about deforestation. So let's get back to today's lesson, which is on report writing. A very practical example of using paragraphs. Report writing. Report writing is an important skill. We have to convey information. We're going to learn a lot, and we've got to convey this information to people. And a good way of conveying information is in a report. And it's a skill that covers a number of areas like science, technology, current affairs, reviews. Some characteristics of the report are, they're always factual. We give up-to-date facts, the best facts. The information, these facts are verifiable. You can go to any number of sources, Google or other sources, and find out these facts are true. They are aimed at people with a specific interest in that area. Not everybody's going to read your report on growing corn if they're not growing corn, you know. So it's going to a specific area, and they're going to be very interested. The passive form of the verb is generally used. We're not talking about people so much here as we're talking about ideas and things. Reading and interpreting graphs. Graphs and charts communicate information visually. This is the big advantage to have a chart and a graph. You can see a lot. The old saying is a picture is worth 100 words or 1,000 words. Therefore, graphs are often used in newspapers, magazines, business reports, school reports around the world. Some of the graphs commonly used are as follows. Bar graphs. People love bar graphs. You can see the bars here. It shows a variety of the company's products, okay, business items. And it shows on two axes, we have a vertical axis and a horizontal axis. These are business items. And line graphs. Bar graphs can either be vertical or horizontal. These bars can be across, but they're usually up straight. It is important to label carefully on each bar what that bar represents. Then we have line graphs. Line graphs are diagrams that present data using dots and lines. One variable is indicated on the vertical line. Vertical line is this line. This shows percentages. And the other line is the horizontal line, and it'll show what is recorded on that line. Then we have the pie chart. Pie chart is the most favorite of most people because you can see in one fell swoop the areas and how much percentage that those areas are taking. A pie chart shows relationships between the parts and the whole. The whole is contained in the circle, the pie. It's like you get a big piece of pizza, okay? You take out a couple of slices and you can see how much pizza has been gone. And it's divided in appropriate size proportions or slices. Some people want a big piece, some people want a small piece. You can see the chart here shown on the computer. Tips for writing a report based on a graph or a chart. While writing a report, take into account the following. Very important. First of all, your title. What kind of information is found on the chart? That's the first part. It should be the head of your chart. Key, additional information, which should be included in the graph. Scale, you have to show the scale. From 1 to 100 or whatever the scale is, you've got to show the scale on both axes. Axis lines, vertical axis runs along the side of the graph, that's on the left side, and the horizontal line axis runs along the bottom of the graph. Bar labels. Describe the individual parts of the bar, either underneath or on the bar itself. Look at the following bar chart. We're going to show an example now so you know exactly how to do it. Interpretation of graphs. Interpretation of a graph involves reading, understanding, and expressing the data represented in a verbal medium. In other words, after consulting the graph, you must be able to transfer the information onto a paragraph. This is what the work we're going to be doing after we see the graph. So let's look at a graph and then do a presentation. This is a chart of the literacy rate in India after independence. So they wanted to see how many people started to read after 1951. So what they did was they put percentage of people on the left side. Goes from 0 up to 100. They stopped it at 80 here, okay? And then on the bottom, they put the years. 1951, 1961, 1971, 81, 90, up to 2011. They haven't given us the final amount of people reading right now in 2021. They haven't done that study yet. But this goes up to 2011. And it shows on each bar the amount of people. They show exactly how many people can read in India on each one of these years. So we have 16.7% of people in India in 1951 were reading, literacy, they could read. And now, in 2011, we have 74%. So based on this chart, they want you to write a paragraph. So a report can be written like this. I'll give you an example, and you can follow this along in your book. The above bar chart, this is a bar graph, represents the literacy rate in India after independence. Spread over a duration of 60 years, from 1951 to 2011, the rate of literacy has attained a steady growth. from just 16.7% to 74.4% in 2011. As can be ascertained from the graph, the initial years after independence during the first year, saw a growth of just below 10%, 17, 24, 29. And then, after 30 years, there was a big leap in the 80s, okay? It jumped here, up for 36, up to 52, up to 65. The next decade also witnessed a growth of about 13%. The rate has witnessed a fall in the next decade. It's less than 10%, 65 to 74, only 9%. The policies of the governments and their implementation might be the reason for the unsteady growth of the literacy rate. However, the overall growth is promising, and it shows signs of crossing 75% after 2011. In actuality, the growth is sort of leveled off here, and we'll get a final figure next year. So let's do one more. Another, that was what we just read. Now let's do another chart. Here is a chart representing the results of a survey based on information how rural and urban women spend the hours of their day for some chosen activities on the average. Based on this information, they want you to write a report. So let's look at the chart. We have the dark bars are the rural women. The light bars are the urban women, okay? And so, interesting on a chart, you can show two kinds of population on the same chart. And this is the number of hours. It goes from 0 to 4 hours. And then they show on the bottom, okay, the horizontal axis, cooking, watching TV, hobbies, rearing children, and reading. These are the events that they're recording. So you can see in some areas like cooking, the rural women spend more time. But in watching TV and rearing children and reading and hobbies, the urban women spend more time. So that they didn't put here was working. A lot of the rural women do have some certain jobs. But let's write a report based on this graph. Here's the answer. Okay. The time spent on chosen activities by rural and urban women. The bar graph indicates the time spent on activities like cooking, watching TV, indulging in hobbies, rearing children, and reading by rural and urban women. Surprisingly, in all the 5 areas, the urban women spent more time than rural women. The field work or other manual labor that the rural women take up, leaves them with little time for chosen activities. On cooking, the rural women spend less than 1 hour. The urban women spend nearly 2 hours. Let's go back to the graph. Cooking, it shows here rural women is spending more time, but they've got this backwards. It says here that the urban women spend more time. So they must have made a mistake on presenting this. So it shows that here that the rural women are spending 1.5 hours. Actually, the urban women are spending 1.5 hours, according to our citation here. So, why is this? Because the rural women have a job during the day. They're spending 6, 7, 8 hours working. So they don't have the time that the urban women have to take care of all these other matters. We'll go over that point again. On cooking, the rural women spend less than 1 hour, and the urban women spend at least an hour for the same. The biggest gap is seen in the time taken on rearing children. Okay? The rural women spend less than half an hour on rearing children, while the urban women spend nearly 2.5 hours on the same. The entry for reading is the lowest of all of the activities for both rural and urban women. So they're given a little jab here. They think that people should be reading more and studying more. Let's go ahead. And we have a pie chart next. Pie chart is the favorite chart for a lot of people. They love to see the whole chart because it shows the whole subject and the percentage that a person is or an activity is taking place. The pie chart given below represents the result conducted of a nonprofit NGO, not-for-profit organization, to understand how a rural family in India spends its income on various items. Based on this information, write a report of about 200 words. So they show here the pie represents all of the money, okay? And most of the money, you can see the biggest slice of the pie is spent on food and clothing, which makes sense. That's what you need your money for, is to eat good food and take care of yourself. 15% is spent on health, going to the doctor, toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that. Entertainment, rural people, they like TV, they like to go to the show once in a while, they like to buy certain things that are entertaining. Education is only 10%. Savings, another 10%. And then repaying loans, unfortunately, are 20%. And we're hopefully this percentage will go down. Now, based on this pie chart, let's write a paragraph, okay? And here's the paragraph. Spending Patterns of Rural Families is the title. The previous pie chart throws light on the spending pattern of rural families. The chart indicates a typical rural family spends at least, that is 10% each of its income on savings and education, the smallest portion. Entertainment and health consumes 15% each. Next stands repayment of loans at 20%. The highest percentage, that is 30%, is spent on food and clothing. It is clear from this chart that the people concerned need to be educated about profitable savings plans, and for their education level should also improve. Thus, it is summarized that a campaign to improve the educational level of the people of the rural areas might bring about progress, overall progress for them and India. Now, let's look at a line graph. Here we have a graph showing, okay, the population growth in India during pre-independence and post-independence period of India. Use the information to write a report about the trends of population. Okay, let's look at the chart first. This dotted line here represents, okay, pre-India from 1901 to 2011, okay? So the chart starts here at 1901, goes 1911, 1921, 1931, 1941. And you can see very little growth has taken place. And then the up line, okay, that shows the population growth from 1951 until 2011. So we started here, okay, in 1951 at about 4 lakh. We had in crores, 40 crores of people in 1951. And we come up here in 2011, we are at 124 crores. So ever since independence has taken place, the population has really gone up. In fact, the population of this year, 2019, the last census we took, is 135 crores. So they want us on this chart to write a paragraph. So I've done it for you. Comparative study of population growth in India. You can take notes on this, put them in your book. Population growth has been a perpetual problem in India. A comparative study of the population growth in the pre- and post-independence eras show that a population growth in India has been very rapid in the post-independent era. In the pre-independent era, between 1901 and 1940, there was a growth of only about 10 crores of people. The growth was from 20 to 30 crores. However, in the post-independent era, on the average, every decade, there has been an increase of about 10 crores. From 1951 to 2010, the increase has been from about 40 crores to over 120 crores. No wonder India is a billion-strong country. It seems to be leveling off now, but this chart shows how quick the growth was. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway from these charts, okay, is that there are 3 ways to show charts. We can go on point and line charts, we can go on pie charts, and we can go on bar charts. So we have 3 ways of showing information. And you pick the one that is the best for you, okay? So what I want you to do for your homework for the next class, okay, is to do a pie chart. Everybody loves pie charts. We love pizza pie, we love spinach pie, all these pie charts. But what are going to be the 2 axes, okay? Okay, not the 2 axes, but the pie chart itself. The chart is going to be 24 hours. You've got a pie that represents 24 hours of your day. All right? And each piece of the pie is how many hours you spend, okay, in your day of going to school. So pick out any day that you go to school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and do a pie chart, okay? You spend so many hours sleeping, so many hours taking care of your personal work, of bathing and things like that, so many hours eating, and so many hours in education. Now here, you can be very clever. You can put para education, education about God and higher truths, and apara education. So you can put a slice for para education and a slice for apara education. So make it nice, make it very clever, and then write a report. And this is the report will say, how I spend my time on a school day, all right? And then you show that you spend so many times sleeping, so many times studying, so many times eating, so many times washing your clothes. And then send that to me or have it presented at the next class. A coherent, nice paragraph I'd like you to write so you can practice your paragraph writing skills. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Have fun with your line graphs and your pie chart and your bar charts and your assignment. Om Shri Sai Ram.